This one may be titled as Procrastination, No Action, or Just Ignore It. It's really interesting. The point is that let's start with this one. Someone said about the procrastination, and he tend to have a bad habit of procrastinating, and therefore he get into the bind because he ignored. So I responded that you have to prioritize things or some such thing, just a rational way of thinking. But more I think about it, or just the idea popped up as usual. That's why I'm posting this. Procrastination has so much value. That's what I mentioned to the quote of Ben Franklin. Don't delay until tomorrow the work you can do today. That's a workaholic mentality, and he accomplished, so that's good. So certain people may like it, but my point is I discover a lot. For example, this is critical. When I rushed into something, I made mistakes. When I procrastinated, lots of ideas pop up for me to decide not to pursue things at the time and wait. And that's very wise, some cases. And I may not be able to say that that's always right, because I can think of the case of meeting someone, very high level, important CEO level of a big company, and similar to that, occasions that I didn't take action. Yeah, I can think of maybe 3 or 4 at least, that why didn't I do it? Later I thought about it, because that may have opened up more interesting opportunities to do something. But at the same time, because I didn't do it, I did something else. And it's like the story of the man with, what's the name of that one? I forgot, the Chinese story, fable, saying that the man not doing something with the horse turned out to be the right thing to do instead of doing something. Things like that. That the failure that you find may not be the failure, because following action can bring out such a good result. So you may say that you cannot generalize, therefore there's no point of discussing, but my personal experience is that I like doing nothing. And that ties with the Taoism, no action. And I posted a few videos on that when I went to Beijing, Forbidden City, and where the governance takes place, there's a room, and in there was a big panel which says WuWei. And I was so awakened, if I may say so. So I had a seminar, this is the one with UNDP, United Nations Development Program or something. I was invited to speak. So I mentioned that. And actually that triggered another thought, that there was a lady who was translating, told me that when I said that my talk is very difficult and may sound very simple or some such thing, and she said that there's a saying in Chinese which says, go deeper, comes out very simple. Wow. This is the fun of living life, to realize that. Not to say which is right and wrong, but at least to observe and not making quick judgment, to throw it into the box. So before even making a judgment, again, it goes back to the point of samadhi. Wise action follows the calm and quiet mind. And when we are busy in our mind, rushing, it may not be the case. So I thought the finance guy, this is another story, I'm jumping off, but even like an investment guru like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, that's a wonderful story that they like to do what they like to do. And if they don't want, it's dangerous, they don't do it. So they have a long-term stance of making decision. And that triggers me another, important thing that I'm talking with AI now. And the common problem and the stupidity I feel about AI is that they don't have the long-term memory. I don't know if you have experienced it. When it comes to the complex issues, that requires synthesizing various ideas into one. They're not good at it because their mind is, if they have a mind, their attention span is in the immediate. And I have to post this. Maybe I'll do it for this occasion. That I've been into the AI and what it does for the society and us. And I have learned a lot, and I can apply lots of ideas of a mini company, mini me, making decision process, including this one, so that like AI shouldn't prematurely make any decision to get into the hallucination kind of a process. That doesn't make any sense. So I figured out how to deal with AI, which I may have mentioned a little bit, that it's like dealing with kids and the other parents. And they are just wild but creative, but you need to guide them which way to go and how to think. So I have to put them like a segmented idea of first to do this, second to do this, and the third is to do this, and practice PDCA, CAPD, and along with it, we have the track record of everything. So when we need to have all the element that is gathered from different angles over time, there's already a record, just like a quarterly record. Quarterly report is to be done by the company. So each project or the idea, they have to have the mission of why you do it and how to do it and how to report it and what's the lessons learned. So starting to check, CAPD, plan, do, check, act. Maybe I'm talking too much. But those are the synthetic process that we are to do. And we tend to be simple-minded. If A happens, they B, and B happens, they C. It's narrow-mindedness. And I came to lots of conclusion about AI that they don't have a heart. They're rational. So what was the conclusion this morning I came up with? Let me think. Yeah, there's a huge gap that if they are left alone, since we are becoming more and more brain-oriented without touching the heart, since AI doesn't have heart at all, I'm guaranteeing you that they don't. So whatever way they go wild, don't have the sense of what we go through. Therefore, we as humans need to use AI like an extension of brain. And if we get used by the brain, that's like a, how do you call it, tyranny? The guides, the kings can rule whatever they want to do. And we see that's happening. And what's happening also that we should be recognizing it is that people have the heart. And okay, let's say this, people with heart may revolt, not to be told what to do all the time, and assume that the responsibility be taken care by those guys who got money or whatever the status. But that's the danger of falling into the, how do you call it, trap of us overly depending on our brain and nothing else. And that's not sound. So just like I was going to do some work in the backyard, something triggered me that I have to say this, that I have to spend time to stop myself instead of getting into the work, to capture so that I can retain or maintain or have the root or the heart connected in my daily action. And that's the main point. There are lots of reasons, and my video tend to be maybe seen as maybe a little too much. I mean, that's understandable. But that too muchness can be resolved if we have the sense of what's really important, which is to connect to our heart, to make the right decision, if, even to watch the video. Of course, my video may not be qualified to be in the category of being wise, but the essence of this is rooted about from the point of view of us growing, progressing, and figuring out the future, and therefore, and also because every single person's awareness is important. Maybe many people don't think so, but look at what the certain voting takes place in a haphazard manner, then haphazardly someone gets elected and the society may suffer. All right, that's the nature's way too. I can accept that. I put the little note saying, it is what it is. No point of crucifying myself, but just realize it and share when there's opportunity to share, and have a firm foundation, which is connecting to the heart, not to be driven by just a stimulation, the things floating in your mind. Let it settle to figure out. Don't please procrastinate if needed. Use the idea of WuWei, or Noaction, or samadhi, definitely, which means the same, basically, because no thinking, no mind, and no self. And you may say that regresses us. The GNP doesn't go up higher, but that's the problem. Growth orientation in what direction? If you spend billions and billions of dollars for the new, what is it, the computer for the data center, to process the AI, your brain, be careful. We need to, if there's a horse riding, okay, that's the principal management. Mr. Ono told me about this from Toyota. Management is like riding the horse. Horse shouldn't be too overpowering and flipping the rider to get off or thrown away from the horse. It happened once to me. It was very hurting in Ireland. Depends on what kind of tool you have or we have and how to use it. The result can be devastating. And that's the lessons we may not learn. Therefore, there may be opportunity to learn. And if you learn it, you feel it, and you may learn something out of it, like a PDCA, plan, do, check, act, starting with checking and all that, and also Shila Samadhi Panya. Maybe I should cry. Let's find what's important and how to do it right. Not just depend on the mind and the brain, but given the situation, be able to see through what's going on. And I want to post more videos because I have more ideas that align to that kind of thinking from my experience, kind of real. Maybe before I forget and before I finish this, I tell you, when I move in certain way, that represents what the mind is moving. I can feel. When your mind is settled, your eye movement become different. And there's a relation to how you come up with the proper action. I learned that from Aikido, but that's another story. So let it be. Just to remember, just funny story, because there's a reason for that. Okay, that's enough. Thank you if you're listening to the end. I'm going to do my work. Have a good day.